Hello and thanks for joining me, your sport pilot James Glory. Another exciting episode of Sport Bible on TNT, where we'll bring you exciting and latest sport happenings across the world of sport. As is our tradition to do this every Tuesday. This week won't be an exception, so I would implore you to please stay tuned because we'll be right back shortly after this break.
JK Royal Signatures, a blend of African fabric.
Welcome back. It's a beautiful Tuesday and thanks for staying tuned as we take you on the ride starting from the world of Formula One. You remember that the Formula One season will be getting to an end next week, and it has been a fight or tooth and nail between drivers at the Formula One, where we saw Max Verstappen taking the fight to the final day of the Formula One race after being able to win the Qatar Grand Prix. A back-to-back victory for Max Verstappen means that he has been able to win 7 races this season, and also we saw the McLaren drivers sharing those races among themselves. But it's going to be an interesting one in the final day of the Formula One to see Max Verstappen winning that after getting into the mix, and is currently 12 points behind Lando Norris, who is the leading driver in the Formula One season. You remember that Oscar Piastri started the season incredibly well, but right now he's in the 3rd position, while Max Verstappen sits 2nd position, 4 points ahead of Oscar Piastri. And at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Max Verstappen will be hoping to finish the job and hoping to win the championship of the year 2025-2026 drivers in the world of Formula One. He has to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and he will be hoping that the McLaren's driver in the person of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris won't be making podium at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. That would be too much to ask for from the two drivers not making the podium, and Max Verstappen just have to finish ahead of the two to be able to win the Drivers' Championship of the season. You remember that Max Verstappen already has 4 championships to his name and is looking forward to extending that lead. He has shown dominance and he has shown resilience this season already to be able to be in the mix up until the final day in the world of Formula One. You remember that the 1st position in the world of Formula One would be able to secure 25 points, while the 2nd will secure 18 and the 3rd will secure 15 points. And as things stands right now for Oscar Piastri, who has started the season incredibly well, he has to finish ahead of Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, hoping that these two won't finish at the podium. It's going to be a lot of mixed feelings for whoever is going to be winning the 2025-2026 driver of the season in the world of Formula One. And quickly, let's switch our attention to the world of football as we travel down to the Spanish La Liga, up to Spain right now, as Barcelona are sitting currently at the top of the Spanish La Liga after being able to get a victory against Deportivo Alaves, and Real Madrid dropped point for the 2nd consecutive time against Girona, and it was a 1-1 goal in the encounter between Real Madrid and Girona, and this means that it's just enough for Barcelona to go ahead of them at the Spanish La Liga as they sit at the top with just 1 point ahead of Real Madrid. You know that Barcelona, who suffered a defeat to Chelsea Football Club over the midweek, were able to bounce back and were able to get a win against Deportivo Alaves, and this signifies their back-to-back win at the Spanish La Liga, and it's just enough to take them above their arch-rival Real Madrid in the Spanish La Liga. The Xabi Alonso side have themselves to blame after dropping points back-to-back. A draw against Elche and a draw against Girona seems to just be enough for Barcelona, who are back to the Camp Nou playing the best game that they have presently, and they have their players like the likes of Robert Lewandowski and Rafinha back up in time for them to be able to lead Real Madrid at the top of the Spanish La Liga. Will Real Madrid be able to get back to the top of the Spanish La Liga? The team that look as if they are depending solely on Kylian Mbappe, though he was able to score over the weekend, converting a penalty to help Real Madrid secure a draw against Girona. But that is not just enough, and let's travel down to the Italian Serie A, starting from Rome, where we saw Napoli defeating Roma 1-0 to go second at the Serie A table. An interesting one for them. Roma were hoping that they will be able to defeat Napoli to make their gap between other teams clear at the Serie A, but Napoli showing all what it takes. Defeating Roma means that they are level on point with AC Milan, who continues to impress at the Serie A. They were able to defeat Lazio 1-0, and this time around this means that AC Milan and Napoli are leveled on point at the top of the Serie A table. We can take nothing away from Inter Milan also, who were able to get a win over the weekend, and we saw Atalanta dominating and getting a win against Fiorentina. What a way to bounce back under their new manager, and we have seen them do so much well at the Champions League that was just concluded over the midweek. And a mixed feeling at the Italian Serie A as teams continue to put pressure on each other. If you look at the table of the Italian Serie A, you see that the gap between the first, second, third and fourth are very close. This is just 1 point between them at the Serie A table. An interesting league as it were in the world of football. But quickly, let's go on a very short break, and when we're right back, we look at so many Premier League features that took place over the weekend. Welcome back, and back to the Premier League, the most prestigious league in the world of football. Arguably, you know that it was an interesting one to see Chelsea facing Arsenal over the weekend. It was a battle between the first and the second position in the Premier League, and after enjoying an incredible outing at the Champions League, where we saw Arsenal Football Club defeating Bayern Munich 3-1, and we saw Chelsea Football Club defeating Barcelona 3-0. It was a battle of the greats in the Premier League, and it was a super Sunday in the Premier League as the 10-men Chelsea were able to hold on and get a draw against Arsenal, who looks to be an unmovable force in the world of football. They were able to get a draw against Arsenal Football Club, though they went down to 10 men in the first half, where we saw Moises Caicedo be given the red card for Chelsea Football Club. But Chelsea showed resilience and were able to fight tooth and nail to be able to rescue a point, where we saw Chalobah scoring for Chelsea Football Club, and we saw Moreno doing the work of the number 9, getting it level for Arsenal Football Club. And it was just a draw between these two in the Premier League, and this means that Arsenal Football Club has been able to cement their lead at the top of the Premier League table with 30 points ahead of the likes of Manchester City, who currently occupies the second position after Manchester City themselves were able to squeeze a win against Leeds United. Manchester City does not seem convincing this season in the world of football, but as things stands right now, they are in the second position, Chelsea Football Club in the third position, and Manchester United somehow, some way find themselves back to the top half of the Premier League after being able to get their first win against Crystal Palace in over 5 years. The last time that Manchester United were able to travel down to London and defeat Crystal Palace at home was in the year 2020, and they were able to do that this year, defeating them 2-1 after coming from behind, causing the goal of Joshua Zirkzee and Mason Mount scoring a free kick for Manchester United. This means that they were able to rescue a maximum point and bouncing back after their defeat to Everton in the week in the Premier League, and they are back though ahead of Liverpool, who were also able to rescue maximum point and lay off pressure on Hansi Flick. You remember that Liverpool Football Club suffered a defeat in the UEFA Champions League 4-1 against PSV, and they were able to bounce back over the weekend as they were able to get a maximum point and a clean sheet against West Ham, who are sitting at the relegation side. Would this be enough to take the pressure off Ancelotti, the Liverpool coach in the Premier League? And this is the length at which we'll be going on this week's episode of Sport Vibe on DNT Work. For more news and sports stories, follow us across our various social media handles at Sport Vibe on DNT Work. Remain a law-abiding citizen. Enjoy your week. Thank you.